So, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are dropping tomorrow. With them, they are bringing the Terastallization mechanic, which will allow us to put cute little gem hats on our Pokemon's heads and also change their type. So we can see here some flowers for grass types, some chandeliers for fire types, and a big old water spout for water type, and so on and so forth. Any Pokemon can become any of the 18 type. They are born with their Terra type. So for instance, if you hatch a new Rattata, that Rattata, it could be like a ghost Terra type, a fire Terra type, whatever. Now, the trailers have suggested that different Pokemon species are going to have different odds of different types, but we're not going to really talk about this because we mostly want to think about this from a competitive perspective and what the impacts are going to be. So when we think about that, 18 types, if you have 6 Pokemon ahead of you, that is 108 different possible transformations you might have to deal with. Obviously, as time goes by, we're going to be able to narrow that down, figure out what people like to run, but in the beginning, it's just going to be the Wild West. Like, you could get hit by anything. This new move, Terra Blast, is built to work with Terastallization. It's an 80 base power move, pretty solid, that can change between physical or special depending on the stat line of the Pokemon using it. And, of course, it will transform into the same type that you Terastallize into. So this is just going to rip the doors open on type coverage and just let anyone hit anyone with anything. So let's go to some defensive applications of this. We have Landorus, right? Ground flying type, really strong combination. You only have 2 weaknesses with this type, ice and water. So if you give it a water Terra type, that resists ice and water. So that is going to give you the ability to resist your weaknesses whenever you need to stand your ground. The most insidious part about this whole terrestrialization thing is that you don't even need to use it, right? There's no item requirement, right? So you aren't making a commitment. You can just run leftovers on this Landorus, give it Terra Water, and then just see if the situation calls for it. If not, you don't terrestrialize your Landorus. You use it on someone else. Every Pokemon gets a plan B. You don't know which plan is actually going to get set into motion. So you can play around blocking your weaknesses. You can also play around your own immunities, right? So Heatran gets Flash Fire, makes it immune to fire type attacks. Kind of gives you a free pass to terrestrialize into something weak to fire, like a steel type or a grass type or an ice type. Anything weak to fire, you can transform into and not be afraid because you're fully immune to fire. Anything times 0 is 0 after all. So let's get into some of the offensive utility, right? So one of the key offensive mechanics in Pokemon is Stab. Same type attack bonus. Like if you're a water type and you use Water Gun, 50% boost. Fire type use Flamethrower, 50% boost. Ground type use Earthquake, 50% boost. You get a 50% boost on any type that matches you, right? So obviously that's going to have some strong combinations with Terastallization. And with Terra Blast itself, you're always going to get Stab off of that. The really weird thing though about Terastallization is that your new Stab and your old Stab get to exist at the same time. So when Landorus turns into a water type, it gets the water Stab, but it keeps the ground Stab on Earthquake and is able to use both at the same time. This leads into one of the major concepts that made me want to make this video in the first place, which is this triple Stab idea. So you have Blacephalon, right? Fire Ghost. That's a really strong Stab combination. Only 22 Pokemon in the game even resist it. And as we can see here, Blacephalon's special attack is a massive 151. If you take even a neutral hit, you're probably dead. If you take a super effective hit, you're probably dead. You need to resist to survive this. Now that we have Terastallization and Terra Blast, that gives us the potential to add any of these other types to have a third Stab attack to cover those. As we can see here, they're all dark. except for a few normals. That's all weak to fighting. Click on fighting. Boom. 0 resists. 600 Pokemon take super effective damage and just disintegrate. Blacephalon is now a terrifying Pokemon to face with its good speed and monstrous special attack. I am very confident that the first month of this game's meta is just going to be filled with people finding all these unresistible combinations. Now you may have noticed over here, you know, like Catnip was turning into a grass type, Daffy Duck was turning into a water type. You might have thought, like, why would you waste time turning into your own type when you can get access to any type in the game? There is a reason behind that, right? We talked about how you get to keep your old stab alongside your new stab, but what if your new stab is also your old stab? Well, it turns out that what happens is that they combine together to take stab from a 50% bonus to a 2 times bonus, right? So when Daffy Duck turns into a water type, he's going to have the craziest hydro pumps ever, just doubling its damage against everything. So that leads into another major concept, which is super stab, transforming into your own type to get huge damage numbers. And an idea that me and many others have instantly gravitated towards once we thought about stacking stab is adaptability, an ability that already made stab be 2 instead of 1.5. Now, it still remains to be seen, or maybe the data miners and leakers have already cracked this and I'm just out of the loop, but as far as I know, it still remains to be seen if an adaptability super stab is going to add up to a 2.5 multiplier or a 3 multiplier. Either way, that's massive, absurd. So you take an adaptability Pokemon like Crawdon, give it some damage boosting item like Life Orb or Choice Band, and then just run Aqua Jet for priority and Crab Hammer for wall busting. Just go Terra Water and just boom, 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 annihilate things. Just put all of your eggs in one basket, crank this attack stat way up, and just go to town. Just go to town. Of course, you don't need adaptability to pull this off. Blacephalon is an example of a Pokemon that can go in either direction. You can go Mind Blown, you can go Fire Blast or Flamethrower or whatever. You could go Shadow Ball. It's all up to you. It's all up to what you want and more importantly than what you want, what you think your opponent won't suspect. That is the greatest strength of Terastallization, is its unpredictability. I am a little worried that it's going to get banned on the Smogon formats, but at least we'll have Battle Spot in VGC, right? That's about all I had to say on the subject, but I did intend this to be a bit of a conversation starter, so feel free to sound off in the comments and let me know what thoughts are going through your head. Do you like Terastallization? Do you not like it? Does the unpredictability scare you? Do you think it's going to get banned within a month and we are all stupid for trying to learn how it works? Tell me your best build ideas, right? Like, you know, Choice Band Adaptability Crawdon is pretty cool, but my first idea can't be the best thing out there, you know? Like, I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think is going to be strong. And if you could like and share that video, that's just going to make it so that even more people can see this and share their thoughts. So yeah, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I'm going to leave a link to my Twitch channel down in the description so that on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, when I am streaming Scarlet and Violet, my casual playthrough, you all can come hang out with me and just enjoy exploring the Paldea region. Yeah, so have a good night. Hope you're as excited for tomorrow as I am.